updated. But with that, I want to get to our guest who's joining us. I know he's an MSU Bulldog at heart, Mr. Gary Bachman. He's a horticulturist, an urban farmer, and a homesteader, but he's got something else cooking in his oven today. But hey, Gary.
Hey, Rebecca, how you doing this afternoon?
I am doing well, and I love following all of your plant information on social media, but it's also your cooking. You are quite, the champ there in the kitchen, utilizing a lot of your homegrown products to can or to cook with. But I love this story because this is a recipe that most wouldn't just necessarily think that folks jump to do every year, but it's been passed down through generations, and it's for a fruitcake. So your family embraces the fruitcake, correct?
Well, that's correct, and I have to tell you a funny story about that. Growing up, I watched my mom and grandmother bake the fruitcake, and it kind of fell to me to start baking the fruitcakes for the family. And I was talking to my mom several years ago about, I wrote one of my Southern Gardening columns about kind of Christmas traditions and how I baked our family fruitcake recipe. And she corrected me and said, well, it's really not our family recipe. It came from the Lesson Oil Cookbook from 1955. So,
it's a tried and true recipe, but hey, kudos to Mom for sharing her secrets. But it's something
absolutely, yeah.
The Bachman family obviously has had as a tradition where so many, turn their nose up to fruitcakes. It seems like you guys have sort of embraced it. Do you think it just gets a bad rap for the sake of being the black sheep of the dessert table during the holidays?
Oh, I think so. And I think it gets that because people will go out and buy a commercially produced fruitcake that was probably baked in the summertime, getting ready for the holiday season. And there's no comparison to a fruitcake that you spend, and it takes a little bit of time to do this, but you spend an afternoon baking a fruitcake versus off the store shelf, and you can kind of understand why people turn their noses up to the commercial. People really should learn how to bake their own fruitcakes. I mean, it's a lot of fun and it's delicious.
So what's the process? You don't obviously have to walk us through every single step, but What would someone be surprised to know of the effort that goes into a homemade fruitcake?
Well, you have to start early. You just can't go out December 1st and get supplies because you need the candied cherries and pineapple and the citron would start showing up in end of September, but by now it's all gone off the shelves. So if you wait too long, you're not going to bake it. And a lot of it is just waiting. It takes 3 hours cooking low and slow in the oven. Once you have the batter and everything put together, then that's the longest period of time. But during that 3 hours, the house smells wonderful.
Oh, I can imagine. That's going to be like the spices and the different sort of aromas that come in with all the different fruits, and you even mentioned the citrus. It kind of smells like Christmas, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yesterday in our house, Rebecca, it was fantastic. I was kind of happy that it was a rainy day because I could stay in and just enjoy those cakes baking.
Now, I read, too, I was following sort of the thread there on your Facebook feed, Gary, and someone mentioned that they let theirs get a good brandy soaking for about a month, and yours is getting prepared for its bourbon, I guess, glaze is what your brandy glaze that you do. Right. How important is that, finishing touch to the flavor or the integrity of the fruitcake?
You want to know something? It really doesn't make a difference. In the past, I've used kind of the maple-flavored bourbon, and maybe if I've baked them around Thanksgiving time, and soak them and brush them with that lovingly over several weeks. This batch yesterday got a brown sugar and bourbon glaze on top of it. We're going to wrap them up, stick them in the fridge, and, probably end of the week start mailing them out to family members.
How many fruitcakes will you mail during a holiday season, or will you gift, should I say, Gary?
Well, last year I made 24 of these fruitcakes, and just to let you know how big they are, it's regular loaf pan, but they weigh 3 pounds apiece. I did 24 last year. This year I'm only doing 8. So the family members that do get some fruitcake, they'll know that they're the special ones.
So if someone's listening, they're like, okay, I'm looking to bake a different dessert. I'm looking,
Sure.
to do something different. I mean, what would be in your encouragement to say, hey, let's resurrect the fruitcake. Let's give it give it back its place on the holiday table and make them from scratch and, give them a chance again.
I think that's a wonderful idea. And, if it's probably the best encouragement is, if people just visit my Facebook page and see the pictures of those cakes that came out yesterday, they will want to bake fruitcakes next year for their families.
Would the Bachman family feel like the holidays without a fruitcake?
No, it really doesn't. Through the years, we've had fruitcakes and we've had special cream cheese cookies and sour cream cookies. The cookies have fallen by the wayside. There's just a lot of work to do that. But I felt it was important to keep the fruitcake tradition going. So that's my mission, is to do that. And hopefully I convince one of my daughters to pick up the baton when the time comes.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, if you sort of pass that down, because I know you're winding down and passing the baton in a lot of different of your professional areas. You are retiring, Gary. I didn't know it was possible.
Believe me, it was it was a surprise to me. But this year, with my prostate cancer this year, it's kind of made me kind of look at things a little differently. And I have some other things that I want to do, Rebecca. And I want to do them on my time, on my schedule, and so that was the big decision maker.
How long have you been dedicating your professional career to being a horticulturist, a farmer, there with Southern Gardening? How long's your career?
15 years at Mississippi State, 10 years at 2 other universities, and you go back. So we're looking, 35 years plus as, working in the field of horticulture.
But that's one of those careers, Gary, you can't get away from. It's kind of like a lifestyle, right? I mean, you just will stop showing up for work every day, but you'll keep doing the same things.
Oh, absolutely. My yard now, Rebecca, is going to look like a botanical garden because I'm going to have time to actually do what needs to be done. I've always described, people will say, oh, your yard must look so great. And now, because I'm doing horticulture for everybody else, my yard looks like the shoemaker's kid who run around barefoot at times, And it's just, not enough time in the day, but I'm going to have that time now. And so, it's going to be great, I think.
Oh, I think it will be, too. I know you guys there at MSU are also wrapping up for kind of a retirement collection of your Southern Gardening. When will that start to air?
I think the first week in January, there's going to be a special Southern Gardening column come out. We just shot the last Southern Gardening TV segment in Poplarville with all the poinsettias from our trials. Oh my gosh, they were just so gorgeous. And that's a special kind of looking back through the years of Southern Gardening and some of the fun things that we did with the TV. And but besides that, I'm not sure. I think there may be some surprises, in folks' back pocket that they're going to pull out for this. I don't know, but we'll just see and enjoy.
I would say after 15 years, you probably got a few blooper reels or two in there. But you mentioned poinsettias, Gary. Can you stick with us? It's National Poinsettia Day, if I can say it correctly. We want to keep ours healthy and well. So we got more with Gary coming up next. And you will see us and Gary Bachman, horticulturist, urban farmer, homesteader, and hopefully he'll keep our poinsettias alive. Am I saying those correctly? Why is that such a hard word to say, Gary? Poinsettias. Yeah, I can't say it.
I think it's just that OI combination. I say poinsettia a lot of times, poinsettias. I mean, you want to know something? It doesn't matter how you say it, Rebecca, as long as you go out and buy some and have some for the holidays.
What makes them so special for this time of year? Why are they the perfect plant for your home, your office, or whatever it may be during the holiday months?
Well, it's a lot of it has to do their where they evolved. They evolved in Mexico, and it's interesting in Spanish, and I'm going to butcher this, but they're called Flores de la Nochebuena, or flowers of the Holy Night, where they naturally color up around Christmas time. And years ago, folks saw that and brought cuttings back, and we discovered that growers could manipulate the day length or the night length and make the poinsettias color up earlier than right at Christmas time, and then that's why we have poinsettias basically in some stores at the end of October all the way through the Christmas season, because the growers can make those poinsettias color up when we want to do them. That's kind of the real cool thing about it.
I can't think of any other time of the year where a plant is so readily given as gifts. So like even here in the Farm Bureau building, they set them out beautifully as decorations. Yep. And then the moment Christmas is over, they say, take one home with you, first come, first serve. So many gift them. I mean, to people, to their coworkers or whatever it may be. It feels like it's just not Christmas if you don't have one somewhere.
Right. And I'll tell you something interesting. At Mississippi State, we're doing marketing work with poinsettias because they're not just red. There's whites and there's pinks, but there's also oranges and yellows and different variegated poinsettias, which we're thinking that if we could have yellow poinsettias like at end of September, wouldn't that be a great autumn plant to go along with the flowering mums that everybody associates with fall? And it's just amazing what we can do in a gorgeous plant, and they're actually easy to take care of too.
So that was my next thing, because I think that's also one reason why they're popular is the fact that they're hard to kill, because we're all busy during this time of year. Who's got time to remember to water a plant?
Right.
And it's kind of, like it's dreary right now here in central Mississippi, so it's not getting much light. How do you take care of one?
Really, you've bought the poinsettia from the grower and you bring it home. The worst thing that you can do is to overwater that plant. You always want to water it when the soil or the growing mix feels dry to the touch, and you just don't water that plant where it sits because it probably has a foil wrapper around it. You always take the pot out of that wrapper, set it in the sink, and water just the pot, the mix in the pot. Don't water the leaves on the plant, and then allow that pot to drain, and then go set it back out. Put the wrapper on it and set it back out where it was. Poinsettias do not like wet feet, and they will get root diseases at a snap of a finger if they're overwatered. So overwatering is the worst thing that we can do.
Well, that's good to know. I've also heard that, are they poisonous to our pets, or is that kind of a myth, or is there any truth to that?
That is, oh my gosh, that is something that, it's an urban legend that just continues and will not go away. Back in the mid-'80s at Ohio State University, my alma mater, Go Bucks, they actually did the research on that and proved that poinsettias are not poisonous to our pets. In fact, it would take a cat or a dog to eat their body weight in poinsettia leaves before they would really get sick. I mean, they'll have some tummy distress if they chew on a couple of leaves, but they don't taste very good. One of the things my advisor at Ohio State had us do was kind of taste the sap, and it is pretty disgusting. And so it's disgusting for our pets too. The worst thing that really can happen is us, the pet owner, from handling the poinsettias could get some contact dermatitis from the latex, that white sap that's in the poinsettia. So always want to wash your hands when you after you've handled the plant. But the poinsettia is not going to kill your dog or your cat.
Can you grow them in Mississippi outside? I know they're kind of an indoor plant, but I was just sitting here thinking, Gary, I mean, is it one that we do in a greenhouse and then we bring them in and enjoy them indoors during this time of year? Can you have like a flower bed full of them? I mean, probably not, but can you grow them in Mississippi?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you get a nice poinsettia, take care of it during the cool months, and once it gets typically night temperatures above 55 consistently, then we can put it outside. We can put it in the ground. We can grow it in pots out on the back porch. A lot of folks do that thinking they're going to make the poinsettia color up again. It's really hard for the homeowner to do it because it just takes a split second of light and it throws the clock all off on the plants. But they make a great summer plant. They're really gorgeous. And my advice is next holiday season, if you want that pretty plant, just go to the grower, let them do what they do and do the growing for you, and all you have to do is enjoy the fruits of their labor during the holidays.
Is there any other plant that's maybe doesn't get the recognition it needs during this time of year? Maybe if you're looking to gift something different or put something different in your home this holiday season other than a poinsettia, which one do you do?
Well, there's Christmas cactuses, of course. One thing that was kind of fun that I've noticed, rosemary plants that are trimmed up like little Christmas trees. Those are fun. And one that I've always thought would be really neat, but it really hasn't gained traction, are ornamental peppers. We see these in our gardens a lot, and some of them look like Christmas trees, all decorated with the colorful fruit. I really think that somebody should grow these specifically for the holiday season, and that would be a unique holiday plant. And that's, to tell you the truth, that's something the homeowner could do if they're really industrious. That would be a fun project. That'd like a 3 or 4 month project to do that, but it would be fun.
It would be fun and be beautiful. You're always full of such good information. And even though you are retiring, you've put out a wealth of information through your own books and such. Remind us, I mean, Christmas is just around the corner. If we've got that gardener or lover in our life, how can we gift them the book of Gary Bachman?
Oh, the book of Gary Bachman, really, for an autographed copy, all they have to do is send me an email. You can contact me, message me on Facebook, on Instagram, and we can work the details out. And if we get the request this week, I'll get them out, and you should have copies, before the big day. Before the big day,
or even don't forget Mother's Day's coming up, and all of those things. Do you actually think you're going to be able to retire? Do you actually think that you're going to wake up whatever the next day is and just drink coffee and be retired?
Well, Rebecca, first of all, every day is going to be Saturday now, and I will be drinking my coffee, but I'm still going to be doing the horticulture advice point of view. We're going to ramp up more videos at home, in the home garden. We're going to start doing some more web presence. I'm going to be writing more for, geared towards the homeowner. We're working out some deals with some of the seed producers and the gardening supply companies to promote their products. So I'm not just going to be in the rocking chair. There's no doubt about that, because I don't want to do that. But I still want to talk horticulture because it never stops. It never stops,
and neither do you on your Facebook page. And I love that you keep me entertained and engaged. And me and Rhino were just talking about fruitcakes during the break there. So we're going to try to bring those back to life for folks and give them the opportunity to make their own. I'm going to post the recipe in the Good Things Facebook group. And you can't retire from me, Gary. Okay, so
No. You have my phone number. You got the direct line. And I'll always pick up for you, Rebecca.
I appreciate that. And your time today, Gary. I thank you.
Hey, listen, it's my pleasure.
All right, you guys stick with us. We're going from plants to PlayStations and more coming up next.